Today, April 2nd, 2025. Not Liberation Day, not a full moon, just a regular Wednesday with global economic consequences. President Donald J. Trump, newly re-elected and already in full MAGA 2.0 mode, took to the Rose Garden, stared down the camera, and dropped what might be the most chaotic spreadsheet in U.S.-Vietnam trade history. A 46% tariff on nearly all Vietnamese imports. His logic, classic Trump. They charge us 90%, we'll hit them with 46%. Fair is fair. No economist on earth could verify those numbers, but it didn't matter. The crowd cheered, the press scrambled, and somewhere in Hanoi, someone definitely spit out their coffee. But wait, there's more. This wasn't just about Vietnam. Trump threw tariffs at over 100 countries, like he was Oprah giving away cars. You get a tariff, you get a tariff. Everybody gets a tariff. Steel, tariffed. Cars, tariffed. Cheese, probably. Friendship, also under review. And let's talk math for a second. The way these reciprocal tariffs were allegedly calculated. A bold mix of vibes, revenge, and maybe a Ouija board. Experts suspect the White House used a calculator powered by Diet Coke and Fox News. And for Vietnam, the pain didn't stop at 46%. There's the global 10% Trump tariff, blanket levies, category-specific penalties, tariff stacking, like it's Jenga with GDP, the real hit. Easily above 60% once everything is tallied. Why Vietnam? Well, Trump thinks they're a little too good at selling to the US and not so into buying American. He's convinced Vietnam is the sneaky middleman in China's global dodgeball game, even if studies say otherwise. He read a headline once and now it's policy. So, while Vietnamese officials are trying not to scream into a bowl of pho, Trump is back on stage grinning like he just beat China, Mexico, Canada, and probably the Avengers in a trade war. The day after Trump's 46% tariff dropkick, Vietnam didn't throw a fit or start a TikTok protest. Nope. Hanoi put on its best poker face, took a sip of iced coffee, and picked up the phone. Party Secretary Tu Lam, possibly in his most diplomatic voice, rang up Donald Trump. Word on the street is it started with something like, "Mr. President, how can we make this tariff situation less apocalyptic?" Now, Vietnam wasn't exactly thrilled about being lumped into the tariff top 3 with China and Mexico, but instead of going full spicy banh mi mode, they made a calculated move. We reduce tariffs on your apples, you reduce yours on our sneakers. Deal? And that wasn't just talk. Vietnam slashed tariffs on chicken legs. Because who can stay mad while holding a drumstick? Pistachios, premium peace offerings, almonds, apples, raisins, cherries, a whole trade fruit basket, ethanol. They even cut that one in half. And cars. Which hurt, but diplomacy hurts sometimes. Meanwhile, Vietnam sent a high-level official with a finance background to D.C., likely armed with a PowerPoint titled "Why 46% Doesn't Add Up" and other math crimes. Their pitch? Let's lower the surplus by buying more U.S. stuff. From Boeing aircraft to Texan LNG, they even mentioned letting Elon Musk's Starlink beam internet across the country. Space diplomacy? Why not? The big strategy here wasn't tit for tat. Vietnam knew they couldn't outpunch the U.S., but they could outcharm. And Trump, who reportedly has business interests in Vietnamese golf courses and real estate, seemed receptive. So yeah, while other countries were busy threatening retaliatory tariffs or dusting off their trade war manuals, Vietnam said, "Hey, let's be strategic. Let's keep the doors open, and let's make trade boring again, in a good way." The Vietnamese government played it cool, used their geopolitical leverage, and kept their eye on the long game. After all, who wants a trade war when you've got a growing middle class, fast-rising GDP, and American pistachios to snack on? Now let's zoom in from high-level politics to business-level panic. Here's the twist. Most of what Vietnam exports isn't even homegrown in the classic sense. Your favorite Nike sneakers, that stylish IKEA table, and even parts of your fancy Samsung phone, all proudly made in Vietnam by international companies who picked Vietnam for its efficiency, reliability, and, let's be honest, its non-complaining workforce. So, when Trump slapped that tariff, he wasn't just messing with Vietnam, he was basically charging American and European companies extra for using Vietnam as their assembly line. Imagine paying extra rent for your kitchen every time you make a sandwich. Now, with a 46% tariff and then some extra surprise fees on top, the math isn't pretty. Vietnamese manufacturers are staring at their ledgers like, do we absorb this cost, pass it on to our customers, or pack up and move our whole operation? Spoiler, nobody really wants to move their factory. Have you seen the cost of relocating? It's like trying to move your house with a wheelbarrow. For the multinationals, this is a global supply chain migraine. They suddenly find themselves paying way more to keep shelves stocked in the US. Some are even whispering in Washington's ear, hey, this hurts us more than it hurts them. Meanwhile, others are silently shifting production to other Asian countries. Though many are holding out, betting these tariffs might vanish after the next tweet storm. But here's where it gets really interesting. Vietnamese-owned businesses. These folks aren't just cogs in a global machine, they're the local dynamos that have been hustling for decades. Whether it's a family-run textile mill or a cutting-edge tech startup, these entrepreneurs are now in the firing line too. They've invested years building brands, nurturing local supply chains, and even breaking into international markets. And now, they're forced to navigate a tariff storm that could wipe out margins faster than you can save full. So what's the plan? Adapt or die. Many are tightening their partnerships with big brands, adding more value locally by shifting from mere assembly to design and innovation. They're also eyeing new markets, hello Australia and the rest of APAC, because if the US door is slammed, there are other windows to climb through. Some savvy companies are even considering setting up production in the US itself to sidestep the tariff trap. It's like building a secret passageway in your house just to avoid the bad weather outside. Imagine being an everyday Vietnamese person just trying to enjoy life, stroll through a busy market, and catch up on the latest local gossip, when suddenly a 46% tariff bomb drops on your country. For the average Vietnamese worker, this means things might get a bit pricier. When businesses start feeling the burn from these tariffs, they're forced to cut costs. That can mean layoffs, frozen wages, or even fewer new job opportunities. And if you're out shopping, those imported gadgets, stylish sneakers, or even that trendy table might come with a hefty tariff tax tag. But here's the twist. Vietnamese ingenuity is nothing to sneeze at. Locals are used to adapting faster than a motorbike, weaving through traffic. Businesses are brainstorming ways to add more value right at home, and consumers are already on high alert, scanning for discounts and bargains like treasure hunters on a mission.